All right, good people, and we are off. Uh, we are spending another moment. I like to call it the wow factor, walking on the word and really identifying and tapping in to the things that keep us caught up and the way that we need to really work on identifying those things so that we can stop those things, right? But today's power word is hoarding. And I know that I had a question and someone asked me, they said, why are you calling these negative words power words? Because a lot of this stuff is stuff that people don't need to do. Exactly. And that's why it's a power word, because we're getting ready to take our power back from whatever these situations is and the things that we've identified. When you look up the word hoarding, one of the definitions that Uncle Webster got is that it's people's inability to do away with or to part with possessions that they seem to be that they seem to be connected with, or that they think holds value. So when you think about this and you think about, bless you, and you think about hoarding, you think about the things. Yes, baby. Remember yesterday, right? So I'm recording, so we gonna be a little mindful, okay? All right. So you can go through your adventure and find new things, but I can't talk to you back and forth like that. Lord Jesus, she still want her answer. He down there. He's not far. Okay, just go on your adventure, okay? So, the thing about it is this, guys. When you think about hoarding, you basically think of people who collects a lot of stuff. You think of people who have a lot of things that they refuse to get rid of. You think about people who may be unclean. You think about people who can't function. You have all of these negative connotation about people who are hoarders, or you may even think about the movie or the show that has that I forgot, is it on Lifetime or whatever it's on, but it's called Hoarders. And you will literally look at people who have come to a point in their life where life stopped for them. And when life stopped for them, for whatever reason and for whatever they were going through, they began to collect certain things and not let go of certain things because it gave them a fulfillment. Or they may have went and experienced the lack of they may have experienced the lack of something, and because they experienced the lack of something, they always continue to gain more of that thing, so that in their minds they'll never have to do without again. So it's different reasons that people do different things. And how you doing?
My name, what's your name?
I'm Jermaine, there. Nice to meet you.
Lord have mercy.
I'm putting down some mulch to protect my new flowers.
It's gonna be pretty. Tell them nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you now.
Y'all, she is so lovable. But you have to think about, like, they have even categorized some levels of hoarding as a mental illness, because people they become compulsive, or they can't control, or don't feel like they can control certain things that they have going on in their lives as it pertains to things that they may have accomplished, or things that they feel fulfilled by. Now, let's tap into that though, because one thing we have to understand is this. I know a lot of times, you may be thinking about certain people whenever you think about certain things. So when you're not as bad as that person, in your mind, that's not me. Or in your mind, oh no, baby, I ain't that bad, so I'm not affected by such and such. Or this particular thing does not pertain to me, simply because you're not as bad, or it's not as challenging to you to hide or cover a certain thing. So let's tap in right quick. You can hoard thoughts. Keita, how in the world can you hoard thoughts? I'm glad you asked. You can hoard thoughts simply by always constantly thinking on things, overthinking things, and always having something on your mind but never taking action. And because you never take action, all you're going to do is create new thoughts. You're going to create new thoughts about things that you have going on. You're going to recycle old thoughts about things that you have going on, and then those thoughts are going to collide. So when those thoughts collide, then you're going to find yourself being overwhelmed. You're going to find yourself feeling like you're stuck. You're going to find yourself hoarding these thoughts and these negative emotions that have you sitting still and have other negative emotions piling on top of each other. So when you're thinking about hoarding and you're thinking about these people that have things in their homes and these people who are collecting all of these other items or possessions, I want you to think about that as it pertains to you with your mindset, your thought process. Right? Then I want us to tap into hoarding as it pertains to us physically. How are you hoarding things in your body? Well, Nikita, I don't know how in the world I'm doing that. How do I do that? I'm glad you asked. So when you think about hoarding things in your body, I want you to think about the obvious. I want you to think about the type of foods that you eat that does not digest well. I want you to think about the type of beverages you drink that processes and breaks down to sugars and fats and all this other kind of stuff. I want you to think about the way that your food is prepared and like the grease that stays in your body, the fats that stays in your body, the saturated things that stays in your body, the preservatives that stay in your body. So after a while, if you never detox your body, if you never try to eat cleaner, if you don't get out here and move, if you don't do whatever is necessary, then guess what you do? You start hoarding the residue of these unprocessed foods. You start hoarding the side effects of what this type of stuff does to your body. Whether it causes you a dis-ease and you become uncomfortable, or you may gain weight, lose weight, whatever it does. Whether it breaks your skin out, whether it makes your blood pressure go up, whether you ended up, now it goes from a dis-ease to a disease. Now you have a diagnosis. Oh, I'm borderline diabetic. Oh, well, they said that I'm right on the cusp of having high blood pressure. So now we're playing Russian roulette. Like, okay, which piece of cake gonna do it for us? Which piece of pork gonna take us on up out of there and put us right on in there where we got to take a pill? I have been in environments before where people will know that something is affecting them in a certain way, and instead of them jokers not doing it, they be like, "Ooh, let me go ahead and take this antacid because I know when I eat this, it's gonna set it off." Which goes back to, and let's be real, I'm guilty. Can I be honest? I'm guilty of it. Because, baby, I don't eat a whole lot of meats. I don't. But, baby, I will eat a piece of fatback when I got some greens. Do you hear me? I will eat a piece of fatback when I have greens. So, the thing about it is this. Come here, Lena.
This is so crazy. And now what she said, we got to say. I want to see the camera.
Uh-huh.
I want to see the camera. And that's what she said.
Oh, so y'all. Okay, yeah.
Now she said, we got to go to Santa, Papa.
Okay, so she's broadcasting too with no phone just to cover, but let's stay focused. So the thing about it is this, family, when you start thinking about hoarding and what that really means, and you think about the process of hoarding and what hoarding does, then you really can apply it to every level in your life. So now we talked about your thought. We talked about your thoughts. We talked about how we can hoard stuff in our bodies by the foods that we eat, by the beverages that we obtain. But check it out, though. A lot of people, they don't tap into this because they're not as knowledgeable of it, or they may not know that it works that way. But, baby, when you allow stress to overwhelm you, when you allow yourself to experience different things and not go through the necessary things that's going to be able to, Lena, whisper. Okay, well, whisper. Talk like this. And James, like that. Yes, baby. There you go. Yes. So, hey, let's use her for an example. whenever you have an absence of something or feel like you have an absence of something, you will start obtaining that thing any way you can, whether it's in a good way or a bad way. And then once you start getting it, you'll want more and more. Then you'll start hoarding that thing. You'll start hoarding the desire for that thing. And then you will start finding yourself doing whatever is necessary to get more of that thing. Just like for her, it's attention. She loves attention. If she feels like that you're doing something and it's not giving her the attention that she thinks that she needs, she's going to do something that causes you to give her attention. Rather, she lags behind so that you have to check on her. Rather, she walks on somebody's grass and you done told her, let's stay on the sidewalk. Now you got to remind her to get back on the sidewalk. Rather she does any of that type of stuff. She wants you to know that, look, I'm here, and because I'm here, I need you to know that I'm here, and I need you to pay me some attention, right? So how do you do that in your life? What do you do that demands attention from other people? So rather it's you ignoring somebody and they want to know why you ignoring them, because whenever you do try to talk to them or when you do say things to them, you feel like you're not being heard. But when you ignore them and you act like they don't exist, then now they want to pay attention. So what do? You stop communicating all the way around and you give the silent treatment, because you know that if you get a silent treatment, then it's going to spark something on the inside of them to make them want to talk to you and give you the attention that you need or that you desire. Because all attention ain't good attention. Can we agree with that? So as I think more and more about this word hoarding, see, y'all didn't know it was gonna get that deep, did you? But as I think more and more about this word hoarding, I also start thinking about the way that we process things. And I tell you guys, what you don't process will process you. What you don't deal with, it will definitely deal with you. So at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, how is this serving me? How is this adding value to me? And if it's not serving you in a way, and it's not adding value to you in a way, why are we holding on to it? Why are we holding on to the illusion of it? Why are we holding on to the desire of it? Because you might be desiring a certain thing, but it's not what it is. And if it has shown you, and he or she have shown you time over time again, that they are not who you desire for them to be. But because you see potential, because you really want it to work, because you really hope that it will work, because you're really pulling for it, you will continue. No, ma'am, that's not ours. Get away from there. No, ma'am. Y'all, I'm sorry. Hey, but this life sometimes, hey, I could have either not did it or I can just roll with the punches, right? But because you desire to be a certain way, and because you want it to pan out a certain way, you will continue to put more in it. You will continue to work towards it. You will continue to exhaust yourself. You will continue to do all the things that makes you feel worse about your situation and about yourself. Because you know what we don't do? We do not separate ourselves from situations. When certain situations happen, if it doesn't work out, we internalize it inside of us and we start hoarding those feelings of failure. We start hoarding those feelings of unacceptance. We start hoarding those feelings of not being enough, versus looking at whatever it was that we was trying to do or desiring to do as being that thing, and then identifying us as the person. There's a difference between the product and the person. There's a difference between the situation and the circumstance. What does that mean? It means you may have a certain situation that's going on, and depending on the way that you respond to that situation will determine the circumstances, right? Well, Nikita, usually the circumstances is what really builds on. Yeah, I need you not to be that loud, though. Usually the circumstances is what will determine your situation. But this is what I tell you on either one of them or both of them, that your response is what will determine your result in either one of them. So how are you responding? What's your thought process behind it? What's your mindset about it? When you get ready to process these things, are you serious? When you get ready to process these things, are you going to the section of your mind where you have hoarded the negative thoughts? Or are you going through the section in your mind where you are renewing your mind, where you desire to be transformed, where you are putting valuable information in, where you're building yourself up personally, where you are making sure that you don't allow yourself to go through this low place. You don't allow yourself to go through the same cycle that you've been going through over and over again. Where we going with it? Where we going with it, family? So when we thinking about hoarding, I want you to look at that thing all the way around. Then guess what? When you go through certain things, I told you what you don't deal with you. What you don't process will process on the inside of you. So when you go through certain things and you feel a certain way, guess what ends up happening? The stress of it all, it settles in your body. It settles in the cells of your body. It settles in the neurological path of your body and in your brain. It makes an indentation. You can look it up. It's scientific fact. I don't care how spiritually grounded you are. I don't care how close you are with the Lord. The physical aspect of our bodies are affected by things that we go through in life. Now, you might try to pray it off or pray it away or meditate it off and fast it off and all this other kind of stuff. But I guarantee you that whatever you have going on is going to show up in your body. It's going to show up in your life. It's going to show up with the way that you process things. It's going to show up, right? That's why it's best for us to make sure that we understand who we are and how we're made up. We are tetrite beings, meaning 3, right? We have a body, right? We are spiritual beings that lives inside a body that possesses a soul. I'm going to say it again. We are spiritual beings that possess a body that houses a soul. And then, we talked about what are the components of the soul. And everybody know it's your mind, it's your will, it's your emotions. But we leave out 2 things. We leave out that is also your imagination and your intellect. Right? And a lot of us, when we miss out on the imagination and the intellect, you miss out on a huge thing. Why? Because it takes imagination to cast vision. It takes imagination sometimes for you to be able to see yourself further than where you are, for you to be able to see yourself past your circumstances, for you to be able to see yourself through the clutter. And then the intellect, we have to have the intelligence and the wherewithal to identify, yep, I have a problem. Yep, I'm gathering too much. Yep, I'm getting overwhelmed in this area. Yep, I need to do something different about it. If we want to cover it all the way around, right? So when we identify that we really do need to clear the clutter, it brings us back to our power word of the day, which is hoarding. Right? So how can we do better? Keita, how can we do better with hoarding? So listen to me. If you have a lot of thoughts in your mind, you have a lot of things you're trying to process, you have a lot of things that you're just really trying to get through, then I want you to brain dump. And when you brain dump, it's literally just you writing down the things that you have on your mind on a piece of paper. It may be you journaling. It may be let's do on one piece of paper, at the top you write family. On another piece of paper on the top you write finances. On another piece of paper on the top you write You got family, you got finances. On the top of the next one, you might put environment. On the top of the next one, you might put work. Or if you're an entrepreneur, you might put business. You feel what I'm saying? And then once you identify the main topic on the top of those papers, then you're going to put down the things that are on your mind or the things that concern you. And then on a piece of paper, you might even put ideas, because a lot of times you will have a lot of ideas and you will have a lot going on in your mind, and you just need to get it off your head. You just need to get it off your mind. And when you do that, you can then identify what things you need to do now, what things you need to do next, and what things you need to do never. Now, next, and never. And then you can also have a category where you'll put not now. It doesn't mean that it's a bad idea. It doesn't mean that it's not supposed to happen. It's just not now. Now is not the time. But it might be something that he dropped into your spirit. Everything that he gives you does not mean that he wants you to do that thing in this present moment. It doesn't mean that he wants you to stop doing what you're doing and that he wants you to start on this thing right here. A lot of things you'll start learning that he wants you to do. It may even be something that he gives to you, and when you're in the environment or you with somebody else, that thing will come back to mind, and you'll be like, oh God, it wasn't for me, it was for them. And it's an idea he wants you to share with them, because you got to understand that he works through us. The only way that he can get anything to work out, the only way that he can get things to work out and for his word to be seen in flesh form is for human beings to participate and give permission. That's the only way. So if we are building and we are doing all that we can to make sure that we have what we need and that we're in alignment with him, and that we're going to be giving the way that he wants us to give, that we're going to be sharing the way he wants us to share, sometimes he may have you to be able to, let's pick it up, guys. Come on. He may have you to share something with somebody else, and you'll be their answer prayer. This little girl trying me, but she need to know that I'm not the one to try. I am not the one to try. So that's how you do when you brain dump. That's how you're able to do whenever you're trying to not be so overwhelmed and crowded with different thoughts, right? And then the big thing, even in your environment, some of y'all know y'all got too much junk laying around in your house. You know, when somebody pop up on you right now, they ain't got nowhere to sit. It take you forever to find what you're going to wear, because you need to get rid of half of the stuff that's in your closet. You ain't been that size in 3 years. And I'm not talking about you done, whether you're too big or whether you're too little or whatever the case is. You just know that you're not that size. Okay? Some of you know that you will never be able to wear them shoes no more. We ain't even going to give them to nobody at Goodwill. Come on, Lightning, pick it up. Let's get it. Clean your environment. A lot of the stuff that you have that you're not using no more, somebody else would love to have it. It will really, really add value in their life and in a certain space that they in, but they don't have it, and they looking for a way to be able to make it happen for them. And you might be able to do that, but because you refuse to disconnect from it, although you hadn't opened that book, you hadn't opened that box that is in, and you definitely hadn't opened that bag that none of your stuff is in. Quit trying me, okay? Thank you. Y'all shouldn't put a little hood on like I can't see her. Even to those of you who may have a lot going on, you know what I mean? Your environment is busy. Your environment got distractions. Okay? You have to do workarounds. You have to figure things out. And then I have a lot of people that'll say, well, I got my kids, I got my grandkids, and I just don't have the time. Who the adult? Who is the adult? They ain't gonna want to walk with me. They ain't gonna want to do X, Y, and Z. Okay. But because they don't want to, you gonna oblige? Like, when we gonna identify who's who and what is what so that we can continue on doing what we need to do? When we gonna stop hoarding the bad behaviors of parenting? When we gonna stop hoarding the bad behaviors of being an enabler? Because you got to understand that although they're children right now, they're gonna grow up one day and be an adult. So are you gonna allow them to continue doing what they're doing so they'll be an unemployable adult? So that they'll be a dependent adult? So that they'll end up being what you don't want them to be? But inevitably, they will end up being that way simply because you won't allow them to grow through things. You won't allow them to go through the emotions of calling themselves being upset because they didn't want to do a certain thing, but you know it's the best thing for them. We're going to hoard those thoughts of being friends instead of being firm and fair. You got to identify. Girl, bye. Because ain't none of that going to work good. So when we get home, I want you to go in there and you lay down. Ain't no running, ain't no playing, ain't no watching cartoons. Yep, so when we get home, you can go straight to sleep. See, that's how it works. They get tired, they get sleepy, and they don't want to have to deal with things whenever they're not getting their way. But as long as I let it go unnoticed, as long as I let her do what she want to do and act however she want to act, she got all the energy in the world. But then when you have standards and boundaries, the energy dwindles, right? But it really didn't. It really didn't. It's her desire dwindled. The desire to do what I was telling her to do is not as heightened as her desire to just run abroad and do whatever she want to do. Hey, how are you? Good. So again, what are you hoarding? What thoughts are you hoarding? What things, material things, are you hoarding? What habits are you hoarding that's contributing to the way that you feel, to your disease process, to the way that your body processes things? You want to do better. You say, I want to do more, but I got bad knees. Get some weight up off of it. Let's call a thing a thing. I want to be able to get active, but you know, sometimes my heart don't let me. Put down some of that salt. Let's do that. Take that Lasix like you're supposed to. Boy, them water pills, it just be having me peeing too much. Okay, well, drown your heart then. That's what's going to happen. Come on, y'all. We cannot hoard these unhealthy thoughts. Subscribe to them. Make the decisions that we make. And then think that we want to have a better life. And wonder why we don't have a better life. Your life is 100% depicted upon the decisions and choices that you make. Whenever I want to get creative, and whenever I want to build something or develop something, my space has to be clean. Because I can't think clearly. And I can't focus when it's not. You have people say, yeah, I have organized chaos. There's no such thing. It's okay. There's no such thing. Let's go across, baby. Go. Go. Come on. So if you're one of those that say that, I used to say it. That's what I'm telling you. If you're one of those that would say, you know, I got organized chaos. I know where everything is. So, you know, I know if somebody touched anything of mine. I know if somebody moved something of mine. That's called control. Go ahead. Go with Byron at. That's called control. You get to the point where you are all right living in overwhelm. Stay on the sidewalk. You are all right living in confusion. You are all right living basically in a mess. Just so as you will be needed if somebody was to need something. You will be requested if somebody needs somebody to go and get something out of that area from wherever it is. And you won't be identified or discovered. Lena, don't do that. You won't be identified or discovered because you got your stuff covered up. And that's how we do in life. We like to cover ourselves up. We like to cover up our situation and then act as if everything is all right and act as if nothing is wrong. But in our reality, everything that we have on top of the other, everything that we build on top of the next thing, it's just another weight that we put on our shoulder. It's just another extra thing that we got to move out the way when we start cleaning up. It's extra baggage that we have to dump once we got everything in the place that it's supposed to be in. Identify which room in your house you want to start with. Do the one that takes the least work first. Because if you go in there and you try to do the one that takes the most time, you're going to feel defeated. If you try to do the one that have the most mess in there, you're going to feel overwhelmed. Then you ain't going to do the other ones. So start small. Start in that closet. Get that stuff situated. The stuff that you no longer need, the stuff that you know that you not going to have, and the stuff that you know good and well you ain't going to be able to do nothing with, get it out of there. Take it to Goodwill. Give it to somebody. Do something with it, but get it out of that closet. That pantry. Baby, you ordered out to eat for I don't know how long, so the stuff in there just as stale as it want to be. Go ahead and clean your stuff out. And the stuff that you got it almost about to mess up, go ahead and cook. The family gonna be so excited. You gonna be so excited. Yeah, well, go ahead to the house. Byron, go this way so we can get her to where she going. You got to start somewhere, family. Get the stuff out your mind. Get the stuff out your environment. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. And that's even for the ones in your car. Go out there and get them old french fries out of there. Your chains sticking together. And you got stuff that's done been in there for so long. Baby, please go out there and clean that car out. Clean that car out. When you clean it out, get you some soap and water or whatever, a good wet rag, or spray something on it and wipe down the parts that's leather or vinyl or whatever and get that car a new smell and put you an air freshener in there. It'll feel like a whole new ride. So here you are thinking that hoarding meant that you had a whole bunch of stuff and you like the people on TV. No, baby. You can hoard many of things. And the Bible says that whatever you hold on to, whatever you build up in, whatever that thing is, that's your treasure. And where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. And it means that you put him out of pocket. He's out of place. So I need you to ask yourself, what's stopping you from being clear to hear from him, to see, and to do? And you start by decluttering your life. You start by decluttering your mind, your body, and your soul. I know that's different, but tap in below and give me an aha moment, or let me know what area you're going to start decluttering first.